Well, tubers, round whatever this one is, 3 or 4 or 5 or something. Let's build something. I'm fixing to work on the exhaust. Exhaust on rigs is kind of a trick. This setup is the worst I've ever seen. It blows the exhaust right back at everybody working on here. I bet that was terrible, especially with the rotted out end on the turnout. I've seen some rigs, everybody's kind of got their own way. A lot of times they'll take exhaust and just run it at an angle out that way. I've seen several guys sort of put mufflers that point straight up. The bottom of the mufflers are kind of up towards the poles or up towards the derrick, mounted here that goes over. What I want to do is take some 4.5 and weld 90s. I'm going to cut a hole in this bumper right here, and I'm going to come out of this bumper with a 90 up. It'll just clear the poles, and I'm going to make it just about as high as the poles. And that way it shoots the exhaust straight up, gets it above your head. Even the wind's blowing towards the operator, it's going to get it above your head. It won't stink you out. One other possibility that I might do, I want to keep the option open, is these originally had a cover that went over the engine. You can sort of see where it's set around the radiator, and I think it came just past the back of the engine here, and it was a cover that was hinged right here that would fold this way. And I want to keep that open as an option, and with the exhaust like this is, it isn't going to work. So what I'm thinking I want to do is take the exhaust down and then start the 4.5 casing about right here and run the casing back over there. Heavy. So I got some parts here. I got a turbo flange that goes on the turbo and a couple of 90s, and I'm going to take this home and go work on it. I'm going to have to cut this back about 1 inch to make this as tight as I can to get it to clear the thermostat housing, and then I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to work on this tonight probably and bring it up here tomorrow and see if we can get the exhaust done. I got this piece here built. It snakes around that real well. I'm planning on cutting this off. I want a little bit more flex in here. There's not going to be a whole lot of room to put much flex, but that's what it's going to look like. I'm thinking I'm fixing to start on this exhaust. I've kind of been scratching my head about how to go about this and make it all line up good. This is a piece of channel, and the same piece of channels on the inside. I can use this to mount the pipe to, if you would. And I'm just thinking cut a hole right there, level it and run it up, but it's going to be kind of a trick to get all that to line up. I'm going to have to go 90, 45, and then 90 up.
Gotta get you off there before you fall. See if I can do this one-handed.
Okay, I kind of egged the hole here in the bumper so I can pull this up a little bit closer. I think that'll work good. I'm going to just take another 90. I don't have enough hands here. And weld like that. Get it all welded up, and then we can cut this to 45 or 30 or 26 or whatever degree we need to bring that at an angle back where it needs to be. So I'm really not sure how to go about this. I got these two 90s welded together, cut one of them off into sort of a 45. I'll have to trim it up obviously and square it whatever it needs to be, but I just don't really know how to guess how to do this. So I guess I'm going to try to measure and get a close measurement. I have welded, and you saw me tack this on here. This is too long, and I'm going to sneak up on it with my bandsaw, cut it several times. I really don't have a good way to measure it or line it up or anything else. I don't want to get it too short. I'm going to hack it off, I guess. So after a ridiculous amount of finagling here, I'm getting closer. This pipe's a little bit too long. It needs to go straight that way, about an inch. And I've got it sort of propped up here and lined up. I've got to finagle it a little bit more. But I'm going to try to take a wrap around and tighten and maybe and transfer this edge sort of onto the 90. See if I can get a mark and get it cut. This is going to be a trick to get this right. Alright, that gives me a hopefully proper-ish angle. I'm going to torch that off real quick. Okay, I got this tacked together and it actually managed to get it out of there. I don't know if I'll ever get it back in there. But it came out good. I got one little gap over here. I got a little weld on it. Watch your foot. Anyway, I'm fixing to go get a sandwich to eat lunch. I'm going to weld this out and stuff it back in there and see you shortly. Well, this actually came out better than I had expected. I took a 4.5 collar. It's just exactly 5-inch OD. It's the same OD as the exhaust pipe, so this will work good to put the flex onto. And it just fits on there. That's just too perfect. I turned a step in it there to make it easier to get it on. This is not welded, but I'm just going to weld it where it touches right there. And then it all laid in here and just fit really good. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and weld this out real quick. Weld that, and then I'm gonna pull this off and weld that from the inside. Well, the next thing I got to do is wrestle this thing up there. Logical thing to do to go get my forklift, but I'm too lazy to get my forklift, so I'm gonna work twice as hard to wrestle it up there. So it's actually leaned back just a little bit. but the cab and the frame and all run way back, so when you're looking at the line of the cab, it looks like it's leaned forward. I'm not sure exactly what to do. Alright, I got this welded up. I had trouble getting back in here with had to bend a 60-10 to get back there. It's not the greatest, but it's done. So all this is welded up. The only thing I lack, I guess, is I think I need to cut this off about right here and then put that piece of flex in. We'll crank it up and see what it sounds like. Alright, so I just actually torched this off instead of taking it off. I had to take it off anyway to get this on there. We're gonna get it. That's about what I wanted, I think. I got to get those clamps tighter, but my impact wrench is dead. Fire it up. I'm surprised how quiet it is. Well, I like it. I gotta get the gas pedal rigged up back here so I can stand up on the floor and gas it and see what it looks like. Well, back over here at home base today. I got something here to put together. I hope all this works. I've laid in bed at night for about a week straight and designed this in my head. Anyway, I got it all cut out and I'm going to put it together. It's going to be the drilling console. I think I'm just going to stick you somewhere and start tacking stuff together and see if it looks like everything might accidentally fit. Well, I got 2 screw ups, which to me is kind of amazingly good. So there's another piece that goes on the front. It's out there in my pickup, but I can't put it on because the big piece of beam or channel iron, that is the diagonal brace, it goes in this hole. We got to put it in there, weld that out, and then weld the front on it. But I like it. I like it a whole bunch. I got 2 screw ups. Did I already say that? There's a gap here. Somehow I missed this by 1 inch. And I wish I'd have known that because I really didn't have enough room here. I was tight for room. And then this is going to have a door. The door hinges out. And I screwed this up. You can see the door. I guess that probably doesn't really matter when the door's shut. I might could take a piece of flat bar and put another angle here. It might look kind of cool. And the 3-inch flat bar is made to go on top. That's what pretty simple. I'm gonna put my camera down. I gotta go put on some long sleeves and dig up a welding hood to actually weld this thing out. I think I'm going to get after the welding, try to get something done. I ended up with this bulkhead here is inside this gauge. I'm gonna have to get in here with a torch and torch it out. But that's an unforeseen issue, but not a problem. I'm pretty pleased. The more I thought about it, I don't care about this right here at all. Alright, so I got this thing all welded up. I took a piece of another flat bar and laid it in right there, and I actually kind of think it looks cool. It laid another piece of geometry to it or something. Come up pretty good. I'm pleased with it. I had to bump all these with an ID grinder, just very slightly. The gauges fit really nice. I'm not going to put the front on it. I can't put the front on until I get it in there because it's got that piece of channel iron that goes through there. And so I plan on sort of sticking it up there. Hopefully it's level and it fits. And put the front on it. I may mostly hook the airlines up too before I put the front. I don't know, I say that. It'd probably be really easy to do it back here. That's how I designed it. I think if I can just get it set up there, I can manhandle it. Alright, so I'm going to drag my welder over here. I'm going to try to wrestle this thing up and get it level and about where I want it. You know, if I scoot it up or down, that's going to raise it up or lower it. I think it's about where I want it. I might knock it back down just a crack. But I'm just going to weld this top here. I'm going to get it level and straight. The front is what will square all this up, and I think the bottom might be kicked out or something. think it's going to work. I think it'll be plenty stout. I think it's going to look kind of cool because it's sort of floating. And I'm going to actually put the gas pedal, it's probably going to be like partly underneath it. Alright, I went and got the front. That goes right here. I'm going to try to stick you somewhere and wrestle this thing up here. I might just put you down here on the floor. There it is. It's only welded right here and right there, and I think you could tie onto it and pull the rig out with it if you needed to. I like it. I think I'm gonna like the way it kind of looks like it's floating. Like I say, you can walk up here, you won't stick your toe on it. You can get right up to the console, and I'll probably put the gas pedal sort of under the edge. There'll be another hydraulic valve mounted. I've got another one of these cut out. It'll be cut out and inset right into here, but I wasn't exactly sure where it would end up, so I didn't cut it out. You know, we can just torch that out later. I'm gonna finish welding this. I've already welded more than I should without long sleeves on. I'm gonna go get a shirt, weld this out, and then I'm gonna put a bunch of paint on this. I'm gonna paint it orange just like the rig, or just like the rest of the rig. I'm gonna paint these orange up to this point, paint this orange, maybe some of the floor, and call it a day. Well, there she is. Needs another coat of paint, but I'm gonna give it a little while. There's some big old fat ugly runs right there I'm fixing to make a mess out of. I don't think that helped. So for those of you that are still hanging around, I got some more parts in here. I got some of these air valves. I want to talk about these air valves. There are a couple of ports. Air comes in one port, out the other. And these will go to clutches and variable things and engine throttles and whatnot. And it's a variable pressure regulator. The more you pull the handle, the more pressure it puts out. This one is spring returned. It's going on one of the clutches, and the other ones are all they just stay wherever you put them. There's no spring return. These valves originally were made by a company called Wabco. They made a lot of stuff, mining trucks, heavy equipment, and you know, I'm all about buying American-made stuff when I can, and this is a perfect example of the kind of thing that I would pay a lot more money for, to have something that's made in the USA. I had these valves quoted. There were 6 of these valves. 6, is that right? Yeah, 6 of these valves, plus about 5 or 6 more that aren't here yet. And I don't remember exactly what the quote was, but all in all, for the valves I needed, these and the others, and these are the expensive ones, it was about 10,000 bucks. And I just couldn't do it. I got on Alibaba, put in their, you know, it's now Rexroth owns them, put in their part numbers, and I bought $10,000 worth of valves for less than $2 grand. It was actually about $1,400 or $1,500. I don't have all these, but I'm gonna take you out there. We're gonna put a few of them in. I got to drill out all the holes. All the holes in that thing I had water jetted for a tap size, and I was going to tap the holes so that you wouldn't have to have a nut on the bottom. I decided that's too big a pain in the butt. I got to drill out all the holes. I'm gonna mount a few of these and let's go do it. Well, yesterday, right out of the box, my Ryobi drill burned up. I know a lot of people harp on Ryobi. Now, I've got some Milwaukee stuff. Milwaukee stuff is great. But that drill has had an absolute horrible life, and it has lived many, many years and been hot enough that it has smoked many, many times. And yesterday was its last hurrah. So I went to Home Depot this morning and spent $79 and got me a brand new one. Wanted to show you, I got the all these valves mounted. This valve actually goes in the cab. These two valves are the same, and one of these is a spare, but the ones that are going here will look the same. It'll have the bigger holes take these. There'll be one right here, and they all will work the same except they stay wherever you put them. This is spring loaded back to neutral. I've got all these gauges ordered. I wanted to kind of go through and show you what we're going to do, or what all is going to be hooked up. Obviously, when this thing is running, we'll come back here and play with all this. This first valve here is the tubing line drum clutch. It's a clutch that engages the drum right there. The next one will be the sand line, the one farther up there. This will be the engine throttle. It'll also have a gas pedal. They'll both do the same thing, but the gas pedal obviously is when you're tripping pipe, and this will be whenever you're drilling or whatever and need to set the engine speed and stay there. And this is going to be what controls the turning of the drill pipe. And I hadn't decided whether I'm going to put a rotor table in it, drive it electrically or hydraulically, or to a top drive. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do a hydraulic top drive on it. I actually own an electric top drive that we need to show. I need to do some work to. I need to show. It's going to be another video in itself. Mud pump clutch, or engine clutch, whichever one. The valve right here will be the air slips that catch the pipe that they open and close. I don't have a good way to describe it, but it's a device that grabs the pipe when you're tripping pipe or drilling or whatever. Let's see. I think I was going to use this one as the engine clutch. We've got one of these will be the hydraulic pump, kick hydraulic pump in and out, high-low range in the transmission. This one's going to be sort of a spare, probably used for the jolograph, and this one is going to also be hooked somehow with the rotor table top drive, possibly forward reverse or something. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, that's a spot for it. Got a bunch of gauges. I got a few of them put in here. Air pressure, battery voltage. This will be hydraulic oil temperature, engine coolant temperature, engine oil pressure. It'll have a start-stop switch, kind of like the one I showed you in the cab. I think I showed you. If I didn't show you, you'll see it in the next video, I guess. But it looks like a big disconnect, but it doesn't have a key. It's just an off, run, and start. Got another key and oil pressure, water temperature for the mud pump, and another set here for the generator. I got 3 big hydraulic gauges, and these will kind of be used as whatever I determine they need to be. Obviously, probably a master hydraulic pressure, maybe one for the power swivel if it's run off a different engine or something, and then the third one for whatever. Hydraulic valve goes here. As I kind of mentioned, there'll be another one down here. We got to torch this out and put that other valve down there. All right, the next sort of thing here is I've got to mount this hydraulic valve. I bought 2 of these that are identical. So the first one here should be easy, the top one. This valve is just going to mount just like this, basically on that. And so if this works like it's supposed to, if I weld a piece of 1/4-inch plate on this piece, obviously inside here, we can bolt that directly to it, and the handle should line up about the middle here. So this slot here is supposed to be 2 1/4 to the center from this wall, and this lever here is 1.5 inches from here. So if I come in about 3/4 of an inch, is where my hole will be, and I want the bolt hole to be roughly at the top of this piece of plate. It's just I just kind of held it up there and guessed about where this will come through. I think I'll put it about right there. Let's drill a hole, see if it's close. Well, to be honest, it didn't line up quite perfect. They're kicked that way just a little bit, but I think that'll be great. This one's going to be mostly drilling stuff, except I think one's going to be an auxiliary winch. The rest of these will be stuff for the sub. I'll probably use one. Let's see, I got a winch. I'm going to use one as the power tong cylinder. I like to be able to raise and lower the power tongs over here. It comes in handy once in a while. And then we got 4 that's going to be for drilling operations. The ones that go down here will be for the levelers and raising it and everything. I'm going to put that one bolt in there. I need to weld just a little bit more on that plate, make sure it sticks good, but I like it. Alright, next thing, I went home and built this. And this is going to be welded on the inside of here. And what I want to do is have this other valve handles where the front of the handle is about flush, so you don't accidentally hang them, push them, or whatever. And I saw another rig set up like this and I really liked it, but it had the valves that you don't normally use while you run the rig, you know, the valves you use to set it up, or down low, and you could actually raise and scope. It was a derrick rig with your foot. You could just take your foot and step on the different valves. The other really handy thing about this too is I'm standing on the ground right now. The hydraulic levelers will be these valves here. Is you'll be able to throw your chairs down, your boards or whatever, and run these levelers from the ground instead of, you know, I'm going to run a minimum crew, possibly as little as just me and one hand to drill a well. That keeps me from having to set a board down and run up there and get on top and run the valve from up there or whatever. I guess let's get up here and I tell you what, I don't know what's up with this paint. I sprayed this and I felt like I got just enough. It was a full coat and it looks good. You get a few hours and it's got all these runs in it. I think the paint's like, it's oil-based paint. It takes forever to dry. You know, this has been like a week ago. However long, it's been a while, several days. Okay, I got that tacked in there. This got the clamp. I'll take it off on the side. Now we got to go on the other side and torch it out, I guess. Get all my junk out of here so we don't burn it up. Well, this looks pretty rough, but I got a rock. I think I can get in here and ID grind this after it cools. It's too hot to jack with right now. Grind all this up good and then weld the inside lip, and I think it'll look pretty good. Okay, this is Thursday evening. Well, what do you think? Took a few hours of grinding. It is definitely not that nice looking, but it's good enough for a rig. All right, trying to do some math here. So these holes are 2 1/4. This plate was 6 inches, so it's 6 inches from there to there. So the center of this hole to the outside of this should be 3 inches, and on this plate here, that is 3 5/8. So this plate needs to be welded right here, 5/8 of an inch minus 3/16, which is a half minus a 16th, which is 7/16. So that plate needs to be 7/16 off the bottom of this. So I'm going to get into the welder and get that plate tacked in there, and then, so I think the actual first thing I'm going to do is put some paint in here so the paint can be drying, so I can get a cool thumbnail for this video. Alright, this paint is still... There has been no time since the last segment in this one. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work great. Okay, so I'm done. The day is over. The week is over. The video is over. The project is over. Tomorrow, after this video comes out, I'm going to let this dry. I got to drill a couple holes and mount that valve, and then put the rest of the handles in. I'm just going to make a big mess trying to do it right now. I'm super pleased with this. See, you'll be able to stand on the ground. You'll be able to run the levelers and everything. When you're up here running the rig, setting the rig up, you'll be easily able to step on them with your feet, or just reach down. It's not really, you don't really have to hunk over. It's not that uncomfortable to operate them with your hand either. That's what we got. I was hoping the rest of the valves would be here. They didn't. They're in the US of A, but they're not here yet. They ought to be here quick. So the next things is we got a lot of plumbing to do. There is the whole mechanism, those pins right there, adjustable in and out, and that's how you set how far the poles lean back. They've got to come down to something, and we've cut all that crap off. It's got to be built. That is called a hydraulic screw jack. It hydraulics out the bottom like a hydraulic cylinder, and then that nut runs up and is a jam nut, and that's how you pick the rig up, level the rig or whatever. They got to go on there. Bunch of hydraulics. I'd like to get it set up. I think probably the next thing is I'm going to finish the air system. We got to get to a gas pedal where we can rip it up, start it, electrical, I don't know, a lot of stuff. I just aimed off 3 months worth of work. I'm done rattling. Appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one.